Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. This is our second creator request for the day, which is where a smaller band gets in contact with me and asks me to check out their work. Usually I put a little snippet of the email so to describe who the band is, but I didn't really have something like that this time. It's more of a casual conversation since Terrestria already knew that I knew who they were, so I didn't need to describe what they were doing, and it was more along the lines of, "Hey, we have a new song coming out," and me losing my mind and fanboying a little too hard probably, because last time Terraria was on the channel, they blew me away. I immediately checked out their album, and it ended up on my top albums of 2021 list. To say I've been eagerly waiting for a new single from them is probably an understatement. I am beyond stoked to get into this. Without further ado, let's dive into the Renegade. Um, yeah. Oh, okay.
Defend our sense of righteousness on the way down.
Harmonies, loving it.
Crave
Ooh.
longing for paradise beyond the brokenness, pure intentions, new dimension ascend, begin again. Raise our voices, affirm our beauty and pray that all the sins we display are cast into flames and burned away.
Really digging the rhythmic component of the vocals there. Split of the guitars to harmonize, nice choice. It's little flourishes in this tom run that really sell this section. Really interesting key our guitarist is in.
Raise our voices, affirm our beauty and pray that all the sins we display are cast into flames and burned away. Break God for consequences, acid and soul will purify.
Yeah, shifting to the backbeat. Ooh, shifted again. What's going on?
Raise our voices,
Oh, just a beautiful section. The synth is a nice addition. Oh man, it is over already. I knew this time would come, but I was never going to be ready for it. Yep, I'm ready. I'm ready for more. As soon as this video is over, I'll probably listen to it a couple more times just to really dig into what's going on. Because I'll be honest, I mean, when it comes to stuff like this, I think it was the same way when we checked out the new Hail the Sun, when we checked out the new Periphery earlier this year. Um, I can't help but listen to them just a fair bit more casually than usual because I'm just so excited to get into it. It's like it is my type of music right here. So this might be a little less in depth than I usually go, but no, that just comes from a place of like complete and utter love for this type of music. And I just ended up jamming with a lot of it. First of all, the synth. I really like what the synth did in here. Um, it tended to elevate the beauty in a lot of sections. The guitar would play riffs, sometimes chords, that would lean into a specific emotion. I mean, that's what foundational harmonic writing, that's what it does. But it would lean into a direction, but it wouldn't be really diving into that mode, that feeling. And that's where the synth comes in. It takes where the guitar is going and then just stretches it, pulls it to more of an extreme. And I think what it does is it pulls out that emotion even stronger. And we go through quite a few different uh, atmospheres in this track. It's quite a wild ride. Thinking of it just as far as the atmospheres, the chord progressions. If we look at just these building blocks of the song, what are we looking at structure wise? And I mean, it really surprised me how simultaneously long and short it felt. It's less than 6 minutes long, but it fits in 8, 9 sections in that time. Uh, it just feels like there's so much more music here than 5 minutes and 40 seconds could hold, and I quite enjoy that. See, the thing about it going too fast, I think, is just because I knew I wanted to listen to this. I've been waiting to listen to this, and no matter how long it was going to be too short for me. I was going to want to immediately put it on repeat. Um, but it is really fascinating just how much music is in here. There were a couple of times where I was like, oh, that's got to be it. That's got to be the end of the song. And they found more time to put music in there. Um, Time just got real weird while listening to this. I suppose that happens when you explore any art that you enjoy, whether it's music or painting or film. If you're really digging it, time gets all weird. Time flies when you're having fun, that kind of idea. But yeah, tons of emotions of concepts in here. I'll be honest, I don't want to I don't want to do the analysis so much. I just want to turn the camera off and check it out again. Um, we're going to touch on most of the instruments here, and then I think we're going to hit the lyrics and wrap it up. I love the guitar work in this. The guitarist frequently moves from chordal ideas to just heavy riffage sitting around a single note and just kind of having some sort of momentum while still retaining a heaviness. This was usually during the heavier sections or even the growled sections, the scream sections, sorry, they weren't growls, the harsh vocals. And the third style was more moving concepts. I wasn't paying attention visually. They might have been a lot of sweep picking here, but the idea of having larger skips and kind of going up to a higher note and coming back down and skipping between notes to get between the 2 points. We heard quite a bit of this. Another concept I really like is half step raises and drops. We heard quite a few of them in here where we will hear a riff. Maybe we'll hear it a second time. We'll bring it up a half step. We'll play it there and then we'll bring it back down a half step. We heard this right at the beginning and we heard it quite a few times throughout the track as well. I think it's an interesting way to take a looped concept and provide some variation on it without actually changing anything that you're doing. We can change every single note and not change the overall flavor of it while still changing the flavor of it. The note intervals aren't changing at all, but we are in a different mode or key. And I don't know, that always works for me. It's a very simple compositional technique, but it has so much impact, and I kind of wish more metal bands would do it. Like I said, you just transpose it up a half step or a whole step or 1.5 steps, and you get a completely new texture, not texture, sound to your song. Very simple idea, uh, but has a ton of impact, and we heard it quite a few times in here, and it helped provide a little bit of contrast in some of the more static sections of the track. And contrast, we'll come back to the vocals and the drums. I know I said we were going to touch on all the instruments, but contrast is something really big in this track. Whether it's coming back to a chorus, but doing something different with it, putting an extra vocal line to it, putting call and response, changing the melodic flow of a line. Instead of coming up to this note and holding it out, maybe you come up to that note and then jump up a little bit higher, reach some higher notes. I think all 3 times we heard the chorus or a variation of the chorus, there were new ideas to it. Nothing was ever copy pasted one to one, and it allows the song to feel a bit more linear and expressive through that. There's also contrast in just moment to moment where the vocalist might be singing at like a medium range and then go into a higher pitched belt and then immediately drop down to a low harsh, or the guitarist is sitting on some lower notes and then for the end of a phrase jumps up to one of their highest strings and plays a little line up there, then comes back down to their lowest notes. There's a lot of this contrasting element, the moving from the heavy to the soft. So much of this track is about jumping between extremes. We also even had the visualization of that going from the I don't remember the exact colors, but there are 2 different color schemes between the atmosphere and their clothing. I think they went from like black clothes to white clothes or something, and the room went from like white to red or something. I don't remember. There was a color shift in there too. So there's definitely this idea of duality present in the track that we see visually and musically. So yeah, contrast is pretty prominent in here. Back to the instruments, the drums. For the most part, solid metronomic drumming, but there's these little flourishes all over the place that elevate it, especially in some of the more static sections, such as the verse, especially our verse 2 when we had that tom run going on, um, and the little flourishes. It could have just been constant eighth notes, but that's not how the drummer wanted to take it. Every once in a while, we'd push to these little groupings of 16 and just allow this ebb and flow to the song. We speed up, we slow back down, we speed up, we slow back down, and it helps the song push forward and, again, some of the more static areas. And the vocals, I mean, I'll be honest, I really love the music to Terraria. You guys do a fantastic job at keeping everything interesting from moment to moment, but the vocalist is what really pulls me in. He's just such a talented dude, and there's so much variety to the vocals. There's the clean chest, the mixed, the well, we didn't hear any falsetto here, but the vocalist does do falsetto sometimes. The low fries, the high fries, the distorted cleans. I mean, there's just so much variety in the vocal work, and taking that and then overlaying ideas as well, like what we heard in the third time through the no, it must have been the second time through the chorus. The clean vocals come in, hold the note, and then the harshes come over it. And so we have this dual vocal line with a harsh and a clean going simultaneously. I mean, that's going to get me every single time. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll ever be short on praise for what the vocalist is doing in Terrestria. Sorry, Terraria. Um, yeah, everyone's killing it though. It's just there was one more. Oh yeah. I was really listening for bass, especially when I noticed the band was a three-piece, and I never really looked into the band's personnel list before. And I'm pretty sure when we had them on the channel, both times that Terrestria has been on the channel, there's been no music videos, no band pictures. Wait, I must have put a band picture last time for the thumbnail at least. Yep. So now I'm curious. I gotta go look this up later. If maybe a band member just couldn't make it for the shoot, or if y'all lost somebody. But I noticed there was no bassist in the music video, and I was trying to listen for the bass, and honestly, if a bass is present, it's covered up by the guitar work, which frequently is very heavy in bass tones, even in uh, the higher pitched notes. I don't know if this is a purposeful thing. It doesn't sound bad, and it wasn't until I started looking for the bass that I realized I couldn't hear anything. The bass realm, the bass range it's full. It's not like the bass guitar is necessarily needed to fill in that space, but it does feel kind of odd to not have a bassist. Um, but at least it isn't like the 90s metal where they had a bassist and you just couldn't hear him. But yeah, I guess I'll have to go look that up later, see if something changed with the personnel list. It's possible the bass was recorded by the guitarist too, but then why don't I hear it in the mix very often? Um, Before I hit the lyrics, just I love the inclusion of all the poppiness. Both of our verses feel very pop rock. There's a heightened electronic element to it all. We had that beautiful section in the middle that brought everything down. The vocalist, your voice just works well for that belting rock sound, but also the more reserved pops. It's just everything comes together so well, exploring heavier side of metal, lighter side of metal, pop rock, pop in general. Y'all are just killing on every area of it. So let's hit some lyrics, see what's going on there. And I've got nothing. Uh, it's times like this when I check out lyrics for an unreleased song. It's released when the video comes out, but I'm getting an opportunity to listen to it a day earlier. One of the perks of being a reactor, I suppose. Anyways, though, nobody has breakdowns of the lyrics yet that I can lean on to help see how it pairs with the music. So I have to rely on my own poetic analysis skills, which are not great. On the surface, which I don't think is the proper way to read this, I do think it's a metaphorical thing, it's figurative. It talks about somebody being pulled between light and darkness, particularly leaning towards the afterlife, choosing dark or light actions in hopes that what comes after life will be something worth experiencing forever. That's kind of my take on it. The chorus says, "Raise our voices, affirm our beauty, and pray that all the sins we displayed are cast into flames and burned away. Ashen, a soul will purify." The idea that we hope that through our prayer and our actions, that whatever mistakes we make will be forgiven when we pass on. But there's a moment in the middle here where we seem to get thrown into a war. It says, "Humming razor blades, brandishing a grenade, forsaken, resurrect, we defect and we die, seeing red and fighting the end, barter with the elect, it's treason to reason." I'm curious what's going on there. Immediately after that, it says, "I'm done making deals with the devil, so down we go. Release the pressure, feel it barrel through my bones. Defiant pleasure, is there a price on my soul? Take the good and the vices and analyze them." By the end of the track, though, we have somebody who seems to be standing their ground firm in the center. I don't know if necessarily rejecting the light versus darkness concept, but states, "Live with your choices, replay the beauty and pain, all faults and faith remain forever. Is there something left to save? Give me a reason, pardon the treason, call me a heathen, long for Elysian. Am I worthy of the world?" And it's this final bit that I think elevates the track and pushes it specifically in a direction of metaphor, of standing in for a larger topic. I just wish I could see what that was. I wish I could understand it. But there is a duality here of living your life in light or moving towards the dark side and making deals with the devil in this war, it seems, possibly between light and darkness, and trying to find your place within it. That the song does a pretty good job of including in most aspects, whether it's the higher notes versus the lower notes, or it's the heavy sections versus the lighter sections. There's so many moments throughout this track that focus on two extremes that I think works really well. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Terrestria's The Renegade. Let me know what yours are. Put your opinions, perspectives, anything else down in the comment section. Above that will be links to Terrestria's social media, their streaming platforms, merch, homepages, anything I can find, I'll put in there. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. If you head on over to any of their pages, like, subscribe, ring bells, thumbs up, hearts, whatever, just show some love from Critical Reactions. That wraps it up for today. Tomorrow we will have a album review. Sunday will be the live stream, and then we'll be back on Monday with next week's theme. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.